Let's talk about the incredibly controversial ARK fund. It's controversial, especially here on TikTok, because a few years ago, everyone thought Cathie Wood, who runs the fund, was a genius. The ARK fund used to have very humble beginnings. But then COVID happened, and a lot of the stocks that are in the ARK fund are very strong COVID plays. You have companies like Zoom and Teladoc, and people thought Cathie Wood was a visionary. As a result, you can see here in February of 2021, the ARK fund hit $156 a share. It is currently under $40 a share. And depending on when you bought this fund, people on TikTok either love it or they hate it. They hate it if they bought at the very top and then never sold, never took losses, and rode it all the way down to under $40 a share. And they love the ARK fund if they've started buying it this year. Since January 1st of this year, the ARK fund is up 29%. And it took such a large beating because, in part, some of these stocks were heavy COVID plays like Zoom. And when everyone started going back to the office, everyone was like, oh, well, there goes Zoom, there goes Teladoc. No one's going to use these services anymore. And boom, it dropped. But now we realize that, hey, even if people use it a little less, a lot of people still are working remotely and working from home, and they still are using these services. And it has started to move up. So should you invest in the ARK fund? Well, let's look at their top 10 holdings. I decided for the sake of this TikTok and to keep things easy, I wouldn't go through the top 10 holdings and break down each one's financials because it would get tiring after a while. Most people would lose interest. This is TikTok. Just shut up and cut to the chase. So what I decided to do was break down the top 10 holdings, how much they're up year to date, and Wall Street's rating on each one of these stocks. The largest position in the ARK fund today is Tesla, and it is up 86% year to date, and it has a buy rating. Next is Zoom, up 10%, and it has a hold. Then Roku, up 61% year to date, and that also has a hold rating from Wall Street. Exact Sciences, up 27% year to date, has a buy rating. Square or Block is up 11% and has a buy rating. UiPath is up 20% and has a buy rating. Coinbase is up 87% year to date and has a hold. Shopify is up 16% and has a buy rating. Twilio is up 32% and has a buy rating. And Teladoc, up 26%, has a hold. The ARK fund has 29 total holdings, and it does have a kind of high expense ratio of 0.75%. Typically, an expense ratio under 1% is considered very reasonable. Of course, if you compare it to an S&P 500 broad market index fund, which this is not, those have expense ratios of 0.03% typically. Don't forget to smash that follow.